Grab an empty glass jar. Toss in a handful of dried beans that cost less than half a cup of coffee. Take exactly 5 minutes to set it up. A few days later, what you are holding is no longer just food. It is a living biological machine. It now packs 6 times the antioxidants and an explosive 27 times the vitamin C than it did just days ago. No soil required, not a single ray of sunlight needed. This secret is so miraculous that NASA sent them to the International Space Station to build a living radiation shield for their astronauts. Yet, absurdly, this reality has been completely buried from you your entire life. Why? The brutal truth comes down to this. The $170 billion dietary supplement industry would absolutely collapse if you figured out how to grow a free, living pharmacy right inside your kitchen drawer. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to show you how to take your independence back. If you have ever stood in a grocery store, staring at wilted produce shipped from 1,000 miles away, and wondered why growing your own nutrition feels impossible, you are about to discover something that changes how you think about food forever. We must travel back in time, to a place most people would never think to look. Around 1500 BCE, in the river valleys of the Indian subcontinent, farmers began cultivating a small green legume that would quietly become one of the most important survival sources in human history. Archaeological evidence suggests these seeds, known as mung beans, were among the earliest domesticated crops in South Asia. Ancient Vedic texts, some of the oldest writings in any living language, reference them with profound reverence. In Ayurvedic medicine, healers did not just see a crop, they saw a miracle. They called them the king of beans. While other legumes caused bloating and digestive distress, these tiny green spheres were gentle on the gut, nourishing without the discomfort. Ayurvedic practitioners prescribed mung bean soup as the very first food given to patients recovering from severe illness, the food for a child transitioning from breast milk, and the medicine for someone returning from the brink of death. They did not have laboratories. They did not have microscopes. They simply had millennia of empirical observation, watching what worked to make people stronger, healthier, and more resilient. Over the following centuries, this seed traveled one of the most remarkable migration routes on Earth, reaching Southeast Asia and China, where traditional medicine valued them for their cooling and healing properties. But here is the detail that matters for your life today. Throughout all of those centuries, across dozens of cultures separated by thousands of miles, one specific preparation method appeared again and again. Indian households sprouted them, Chinese cooks sprouted them, Thai families sprouted them, and Japanese cuisine adopted them so thoroughly that they gave them their own name. Billions of people independently arrived at the exact same conclusion. Something extraordinary, something unexplainable happens when you add water to this dry seed and simply wait a few days. They knew it worked, but they did not know why. It took modern science until the 21st century to explain the biological explosion happening inside that jar, and what they found should have made front-page news around the world. In 2012, a team of researchers at Cornell University and Fudan University in Shanghai published a study that would have changed everything in a rational world. They did something remarkably simple. They took dried mung bean seeds, sprouted them under controlled conditions, and then measured the nutritional content at each stage of germination. The results defied every assumption about how food works. Visit C, which is essentially absent in dried mung bean seeds at roughly 50 milligrams per kilogram, absolutely exploded during sprouting. By day 8, the sprouts contained up to 1,285 milligrams per kilogram. That is not a modest increase. That is roughly a 24 to 27-fold multiplication of vitamin C created from nothing but water, air, and time. The seed contained almost no vitamin C, but the germination process manufactured it from scratch. But vitamin C was just the beginning. Total phenolic compounds, the antioxidants that protect your cells from the kind of oxidative damage linked to cancer and aging, increased 4.5 times. Total flavonoids increased 6.8 times, and overall antioxidant activity increased to 6 times compared to the dry seed. Think about that for a moment. You added nothing but water and time, and the result was a food with 6 times the disease-fighting power. The researchers identified a massive surge in quercetin, one of the most studied antioxidants in nutritional science, linked to reduced inflammation and cardiovascular health. The dry seed barely contains it, but the sprout is completely loaded with it. The act of sprouting flipped a biochemical switch that turned a pantry staple into a pharmacy. And it gets even stranger. Sprouting does not just add good things, it violently removes the bad things. Every legume contains anti-nutrients, like phytic acid, that block your body from absorbing minerals. Research published across multiple studies found that sprouting reduces phytic acid by up to 75%. It is as if the seed contains a locked vault of nutrition, and water is the key. Sprouting tears down the chemical walls and multiplies what is inside. This biological magic was so undeniable that it literally left Earth. On June 3, 2021, a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launched from Cape Canaveral, carrying mung bean seeds to the International Space Station. NASA wanted to test if they could sprout in microgravity. Italian researchers tested mung bean sprouts under simulated space conditions, exposing them to cosmic X-ray radiation. What they discovered was nothing short of miraculous. The sprouts, grown under red and blue LED light, not only survived the lethal radiation, but they actually produced higher levels of flavonoids and isoflavones to protect their cells. The plant was literally creating its own radiation shield from the inside out. NASA's own documentation states that these antioxidant-rich sprouts could provide space radiation protection for the crew members who eat them. The food that protects astronauts on a journey to Mars grows in a jar on your kitchen counter in 5 days. The technology, the knowledge, and the biology have been available this entire time. So why do almost no Western households do this? Why has your doctor never recommended a handful of mung bean sprouts? Why do nutritional guidelines completely ignore them? The answer approaches a brutal zero. We live under the shadow of a global dietary supplement industry worth over $170 billion. You are sold vitamin C tablets, extracted from a factory, antioxidant capsules in plastic bottles, and protein powders processed through massive industrial machinery. A $3 jar of sprouted mung beans on your kitchen counter competes with every single one of those expensive bottles. It provides vitamin C, antioxidants, complete protein, folate, and vitamin K in a whole food form that your body evolved to recognize, surrounded by the exact cofactors needed for absorption. But you cannot patent a sprouted bean. No corporation can build a profitable supply chain around something that multiplies its own volume by 10 times inside your kitchen. No equipment manufacturer sells specialized sprouting tractors. Every middleman in the industrial food system loses revenue when you create your own living food in a glass jar. Let the math sink in. A 1-pound bag of dried mung beans costs between $2 and $4, and that single bag can produce 10 to 15 pounds of fresh sprouts. At grocery store prices, you just grew up to $60 worth of food from a $4 bag, using nothing but tap water. Furthermore, fresh sprouts only last 3 to 5 days in the refrigerator. You cannot ship them globally like frozen chicken. The economic model of industrial food depends on products that survive weeks of storage, cross-country trucking, and endless shelf time. A food that is best eaten the exact day you grow it naturally favors the home grower over the massive corporation. The system does not need to actively suppress this knowledge. The system simply ignores what it cannot monetize. And consumers never learn what they were never taught. You are spending up to $100 a month on synthetic vitamins, when a $12 investment in dried beans could functionally replace them all. The economics are so overwhelmingly in your favor that they feel like an error. But they are not an error. They are the exact reason you were deliberately kept in the dark. It is time to take your power back. I promised you the 5-minute setup, and here is exactly how to do it. What I am about to describe will sound entirely too simple. You will think I am leaving steps out, but I am not. You are not farming, and you are not gardening. You are triggering a biological program that the seed has been waiting to execute since the moment it was harvested. First, find a wide-mouth glass jar. A standard mason jar or a clean recycled pickle jar works perfectly. Second, you need a breathable cover. A piece of cheesecloth secured with a rubber band or a cheap mesh strainer lid will allow air in and water out. Third, buy a bag of dried whole mung beans from any grocery store or Asian market. Ensure they are whole and not split. Fourth, you need clean water. Filtered tap water is perfectly fine. Just let it sit overnight if it is heavily chlorinated. Measure out roughly 1/4 cup of dried mung beans. It seems like a tiny amount, but they will expand dramatically and fill the entire jar. Rinse the beans thoroughly, place them in the jar, and cover them with about 3 inches of cool water. Put your breathable lid on and let them soak for 8 to 12 hours, or overnight. This critical soaking phase activates the dormant enzymes and begins dismantling the anti-nutrients. After soaking, drain all the water completely. Rinse the beans with fresh water and drain again thoroughly. The beans should be damp, never submerged, because standing water breeds bacteria. Now, invert the jar at an angle in a bowl so excess water can drain and air can circulate. Place the jar in a dark spot, like a kitchen cabinet or pantry shelf. Mung beans sprout beautifully in complete darkness, meaning you do not need a windowsill or fancy grow lights. Twice a day, morning and evening, simply rinse the sprouts with fresh water and drain thoroughly. That is your entire maintenance routine. Within 24 hours, tiny white tails will emerge as the seeds crack open. By day 3, you will see thick, crunchy white stems. By day 5, you will be holding a jar overflowing with crisp, living food that did not exist 5 days ago. Give them one final rinse, float away the loose seed coats, and eat them immediately. The crunch is extraordinary, and the fresh, slightly sweet nuttiness cannot be matched by anything from a plastic bag. When you look at that overflowing jar on your counter, you will feel like you cheated the system. There is something profoundly satisfying about producing your own nutrition from start to finish, with no supply chain, no middleman, and no toxic pesticides. You are no longer just a consumer standing at the end of a broken industrial line. You are curating a living pharmacy that renews itself every 5 days. A mung bean is not just a bean. It is a compressed biological program containing millions of years of evolutionary engineering packed into something smaller than your fingernail. It waits for water and time to execute a transformation so dramatic that it dismantles its defensive barriers, assembles new antioxidant compounds, and multiplies its vitamin C 27 times. Nutritional independence does not require acres of land, expensive equipment, or permission from industrial agriculture. It only requires water, air, time, and the willingness to reject the illusion of dependence. The seed already knows what to do. The only question left is whether you will start. If you found this truth valuable, watch the next video, because we are going even deeper into the secrets they tried to bury. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, share this video to awaken others, and take your independence back. See you in the next one.